Welcome to another MECH 1000 video. In this video I'm going to show you how to do drawing 3.1 from the textbook, the mounting plate. The first thing we need to know about this drawing is that it is going to require an additional layer. Up until now we've just been using the 0 layer, but we need to make a new layer in order to make center lines. So to do that I'm going to click on Layer Properties. And it shows all the current layers which exist in my drawing, which right now is just the 0 layer. So I'll click here to make a new layer, and I will call it Center. It doesn't really matter what color you make your new layers, but I recommend making them something other than white. I'll make my center lines cyan, and we have to change the line type. So right now, continuous is the only line type loaded into this file, so we need to load the center line type. Everything's alphabetical. Just find the one that says center and click OK, and then make sure you highlight it and click OK again. So when you're all done, if I stretch this out here, you should have a new layer called center. Its color is something other than white, and it has a center line type. Okay, now I can close this. It doesn't matter where you start your drawing, but I'm going to start mine at the origin. I'm going to start with the lower left corner. So I'll make a line and make sure I have my snap mode turned on and start at the lower left corner. And then I am going to need to come over. It does require some blueprint reading. It looks like if I want to know how far it is from the left edge to this vertical line, up here I can see that it's 1.75 from the center of this hole to the vertical edge. And then down here, from the center of the hole to the outside edge is 0.75. So 1.75 plus 0.75 is 2.5. So I come back here to my CAD drawing and make the horizontal line 2.5. And then it's not real clear in the textbook how high this vertical line is, but it is 3/4 of an inch to the center of the circle, to that center line. And that's where the 1/4 inch radius fillet begins. So if I take 3/4 plus 1/4, I get 1 inch. And then straight over 3, back down 1, over 2.5, up. It's 3/4 of an inch from the bottom to the center of the hole, and then 1 inch from the center of the hole to the next corner, so that's 1.75, and then come back to the so here I'm running into a little bit of an issue because I'm on a 1/4 inch coordinate and my snap mode is only set to 1/2 inches, so it's not wanting to let me make a horizontal line. It wants me to jump up to the next 1/2 inch or down to the next 1/2 inch. So I need to come down here to my snap settings and change my snap settings for this drawing to 1/4 of an inch. And that will let me make a horizontal line there. And I believe that, yes, is also 1 inch. And then up 3, back to the left 1, back up 1.75, to the left 2.5, down 1, to the left 3, back up 1, make sure it's not crooked, straight up 1, then to the left 2.5, back down 1.75 to the right 1, down 3, back to the left 1, and then back down to the origin and escape. So that is the basic outline. Now I can apply the fillets and chamfers. I guess I'll start with the fillets. So I'll select the fillet command. And there is a typo in the textbook. I've mentioned this in class. The note referring to the fillet says that it has a 0.25 diameter, but you don't specify fillets with diameter, you specify the radius. So if I click on radius or type R and hit enter for radius, I want to type in a 0.25 radius, not a 0.25 diameter. Then I can also select multiple so that I can do a whole bunch of them at once. So let's fill it together. Those two lines and those. And these corners here also get it. And then the part is symmetrical, so I'll do the same thing on the top that I just did on the bottom. Okay, and then over here, and the same thing on the right side. Okay, that does it for the fillets. So I can escape out of that command and now do the chamfers. Chamfers located right under fillet. And I'm going to specify the distance, and it is 0.5 enter, 0.5 enter. So both the vertical and horizontal dimensions of the chamfer are going to be 0.5. Now I forgot to hit multiple, so instead what I'm doing here is just hitting the space bar to repeat my chamfer command. So every time I do a chamfer, I just hit space bar so I can do another and another and another, and that's just at the four corners, it looks like. All right, so now I have to do the holes. So I'll start in the corners, I guess. It's 3/4 of an inch over. I've got my snap setting set to 1/4 of an inch. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then it has a diameter of 0.5. So I can do the same thing in the other 3 corners. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Diameter 0.5. Now I'm selecting just the default circle command, which calls for a radius. So I need to make sure I type D, enter, 0.5, enter. If you don't type in D, it's going to put in that 0.5 as a radius. And we don't want a 1/2 inch radius, we want a 1/2 inch diameter. Okay, there are the corner holes. Next up are the 3/4 inch holes. And their centers are aligned with this horizontal line. And if I measure over from the center of the circles that I just made, the 1/2 inch circles, it's 1.75 inches over. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to turn off my object snap. It's interfering there. Let's get rid of that. I think also I'm going to turn off my snap tracking as well. That's interfering as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/4. No, it's 1 3/4. So 5, 6, 7. 7 snaps. 7/4 is 1 3/4. And these circles have a diameter of 0.75. Okay, another way I could kind of visually locate these holes is if I follow this line straight up and this line straight over, they intersect where I want that hole to go. So I can just put my cursor there right on that line, come up until I get to that point, diameter 0.75. And then I'll just repeat that over here, diameter 0.75. Just hitting a space bar to repeat the previous command, D, enter 0.75. That just leaves the big 2-inch diameter circle that's in the middle. I'm just kind of looking at the grid lines in the background, finding the center of that line, finding the center of this line, and D2. I think that's right. 1, 2.5 spaces, 1, 2.5 spaces. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Yep, got it in the middle. Later on, we'll learn some techniques for doing that a little bit more precisely, but for now, I'm just looking at the grid lines. And now all that's left are my center lines. So I will switch to my center layer, and I will make the lines. In the textbook, these lines go all the way across. And so that's fine. I'll do it that way. I don't know that you really need to do it that way, but that's how it's shown in the book. That's how I'll do it here. Again, having the snap spacing or the snap mode turned on allows me to know that these are in fact going right through the center of the hole. And I'm just coming to the edge of the hole and coming out 1, or maybe in this case 2 snaps past the edge of the hole. It doesn't really matter how far beyond the hole your center lines go, but it is a good idea to be consistent. Okay, and then finally we have the one that goes in the middle hole. Okay, and that's it. We've got this part done. We could perhaps adjust the line type scale. The line type scale currently looks maybe a little bit big. So if I type LTS and hit enter, it's currently 1. If I make it smaller, like 0.5, all that does is it makes the dashes and spaces in the lines a little bit smaller. And so I think that more closely resembles what's in the book. It doesn't have to be necessarily an exact line type scale. And if your spaces and dashes don't exactly match what's in the book, that's fine too. So long as you can clearly see that this is a center line with long and short dashes, and they do pass through the centers of the circles, then that is all that's required. Okay, good luck with the next drawing, and let me know if you've got any questions.